In this video, we're going to talk about CSS colors. So we've looked at colors before. I'm specifying colors here as hexadecimal values, but there are other ways that you can specify colors with CSS. So let's say, for example, this header. So right now it's defined as this hexadecimal value. Now hexadecimal values come in pairs. Actually, this one is too long. It should be only 6 values, 2, 4, 6. It is, okay. So the first 2 values are red, second 2 values are green, and the third values are for blue. So in hex values are a base 10 system, so it's not as easy to define a color this way. So there are other ways to define colors, and here's a website, HTML color codes, and it will give you, these are valid names, light salmon, coral, tomato, orange, right? So if I put tomato as the color, so if I go back here, and instead of this value, I were to put tomato, that would be that particular color. So you can use these values. You can use simple ones like orange or red or green or blue. Those are easy. But there are other color names that you can use that you can see here. Lemon, chiffon, papaya, whip, etc. This particular site also gives you the hex value. It also gives you the RGB value. So the hex value, when would you use that? So let me just undo this a couple times so I can get back to the color that I had before. And I'm going to switch over to Photoshop now, and I have this image here, and I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to click on this color. And let's say that I wanted to use this color in my design. So if I click on the color chip in the foreground here, the foreground color, that'll bring up the Photoshop color picker. And you can see highlighted right away is the hex value. I see the RGB values, I see the CMYK, the lab, and the HSB values, but this color is highlighted right away. And that allows me to just copy it. So I'm just going to copy that value, then I can go back into my application, and then if I wanted to, I could paste that, and then that would give me that particular color. So that's hex values, that's values by name. The other way that you can specify colors is by RGB values. So to specify by RGB, what you would do is type in RGB, then open parentheses, and it's expecting 3 parameters, one for red, comma, one for green, comma, and then one for blue. Now, if I say 0, 0, 0, it's going to be black. But the range is from 0 to 255. So if I would say 255 here, then it turns green. If I'll turn this back to 0, if I set this to 255, it should end up being blue, which it does. And if this was 255, this should be red. And it is. You can get RGB values again from a source like Photoshop, and again using this dialog box, if I wanted this, I would have to remember 70 or write it down, 70, 178, 254. So the first one is 70, 178, and 254. And that would give me the same color. So it depends on your workflow, how you like to work. Hex values are usually the easiest to grab from Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever you're working on. You can use RGB. Another thing that you can do with RGB is something called RGBA. So if I were to add A here, I would need a 4th value, and the 4th value would be the transparency. So this is on a scale of 0 to 1. So if I would say 0, it would be completely transparent. And if I were to say 1, it would be 100% transparent. So anything between 0 and 1 would be less transparent. So for example, if I typed in 0.5, that would be 50%. Now, we're not really going to see the effects of this, but if this was an object over another object, then it would be 50% transparency over that object. So that's RGB-A. You can also use HSB and some other color options that are available in CSS, but these are the main ones: RGB, hex values, and the colors that we saw in that website. So that's how you specify colors in CSS.